Good morning, intuitives. I know I've been away for a few days. Everybody's got those things that need to be taken care of when you're not at work, and I had to make sure my microphone was actually turned on because I have started talking for a couple of minutes only to realize that the on-off switch was on-off, so there'd be no audio. So that was what that was for. Welcome those of you that are new to the channel. Please check out my older videos on both INFJ, ENFJ things, narcissistic abuse, and I have a few about like historical mysteries like Atlantis that I do every once in a while. So please check out my older videos. Thank you for subscribing, and feel free to pass on my videos or post them anywhere you want if you feel it may help somebody, because that is the purpose of this channel. And thank you for listening to some nobody talk. What I wanted to talk about today and get a video out on before I head to work is, why does it seem sometimes that some people think INFJs are intimidating? Because, we're not usually trying to come off intimidating, pretty much, unless we're in an INFJ rage, when the situation calls for it. If we're in an INFJ rage, the situation usually calls for it, and usually we're raging out because something is being done that, rage is an appropriate response, and no one else has the fucking balls to do it, and we'll step up and be the one to call that person out. And all INFJs do that, not just male INFJs. So why can INFJs seem intimidating? Well, the first point I wanted to talk about was, it seems that some people think we're intimidating because of our quiet nature. We're kind of reserved. While we're good listeners, we don't, at least not right off the bat, volunteer too much personal information about ourselves, and that relates to our trust issues. Most INFJs, and ENFJs for that matter, if you're paying attention, have trust issues, and that's largely due to the fact that we're often targets for narcissistic abuse, for people that are narcissistic, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder. They seem to gravitate towards us. They gravitate towards empaths to begin with. So after having that experience, as sadly most of us do, we learn to, quote, play it close to the chest and volunteer only pertinent information, at least when first getting to know somebody, until we can feel as if we can trust them. Because as any of you, like myself, who have dealt with narcissists know, any information you give them can be used and will be used against you. They can spin anything to make it look in a negative light. They completely ignore, context. The narcissist will use something you said at 10 years old and judge you about it when you're 30 and be like, well, what do you mean you were a kid? You should have, you're supposed to be an adult your whole life. Now me, the baby boomer, I'm, forever young, forever in college, and that seems to be a common theme among narcissistic baby boomers, that college never ends. And, don't believe me, there's even been movies about it. Watch The Big Chill, or as Ollie Matthews calls it, and rightfully so, the boomer chill. But it is the epitome of narcissistic baby boomer, greed is good, 1980s, Reaganite mentality, sexual depravity, hard drug use, all done by boomers in their late 30s, most of which you have children, and they all sit around and act like, like they've never been given a shot and they deserve more, and one's like a famous actor, and one's a drug dealer who dropped out of a PhD program. Another guy's a real estate guy who owns like 2 luxury homes, and he's doing insider trading. But they're the high moral ones. It's a disgusting movie. But again, if you want like a an example of like basically everybody, including myself, that talks about narcissistic baby boomers and how they act and how they never grow up, and a look into how they acted in the 80s and why we're in the mess we're in now politically, there's a window into it that is forever immortalized, and it became sort of their anthem. And like everything that they've done is anointed from God and perfect and should be cherished, and their youth was the golden age of everything. So there's my sidebar for this video. I seem to do one every video whether I plan to or not. This one wasn't planned. So another reason why INFJs seem intimidating, because that's the actual topic of this video. I spoke about the trust issues. Another one is our authenticity. We're so authentic, and we really struggle to be fake. Like I've said before in other videos, not that I know that many INFJs, that I've yet to meet an INFJ that can really pretend to be something they're not. As I said before, I guess the only exception would be, an INFJ who's been to acting school, and I don't know any of those. So, we can't fake things we don't feel. Now, we're very, empathetic, and we're very good listeners and very good shoulders to cry on, and we can show genuine emotion for other people's happiness, which a narcissist can't. Like if somebody finally gets out of a bad relationship, we'll show genuine emotion to that person. Somebody lands their dream job, somebody's cancer goes into remission, somebody, who's been trying to have a baby finally gets pregnant. We'll show genuine joy for that person, but it's like superficial materialistic stuff that we can't fake. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, happy over somebody because they bought a fucking BMW. Like, I don't care what kind of car somebody drives. I know, like, there's some materialistic people that judge people based on the kind of car they drive. I don't give a shit. Now, having grown up in suburban Philadelphia, it has been ingrained in me to kind of be a red flag if somebody doesn't drive, because there's not really reliable public transportation out there. So if you're from the suburbs, I think you probably have the same feeling. If somebody like doesn't drive and doesn't have a car at all, that usually makes, the first thing that's going to come to your mind is DUIs. And that's just how it is. That's just a suburb thing, I guess. But as far as judging somebody, I remember in my youth, guys like, oh, I'm going to take out this loan and get this car, dude, because, if I drive this car, that'll get the chicks. Yeah, it's like, I don't want to date any girl that her biggest concern is what kind of car I drive. Yeah, that girl, go away, basically. You're that shallow and materialistic. I never really had time for people like that, at least in a romantic interest, even in my youth, and certainly don't now. So there's another reason. We can't fake interest in things that we're not into. Either we're interested or we're not. All or nothing. One of the signs of being an INFJ, and oh, trust me, it runs true. Another thing that makes us seem intimidating is our devotion. I did a video on INFJ devotion, but in this specific respect, I'm talking about like devotion to the things we believe in. When an INFJ believes in something, we truly believe in it. We're not saying it or doing it to be fashionable. Like an INFJ, male or female, is not going to get involved in any type of volunteering to try to look cool or, to try to get laid. They're doing it because they believe in it. I was a volunteer firefighter EMT starting at 16, like throughout my late teens. Didn't make a dime doing it. It was dangerous at times. I did it because I believed in it and I wanted to make a career out of it, because to me that was, I was just getting experience in a career that I thought, hey, I can help people and not be a total dickhead paramilitary type person like the police had become, because in the late 90s, early 2000s, pre-Patriot Act, I did want to be an FBI agent because I was in the gifted program in school, and I always scored very highly on, we had these different assessments, both the inductive and deductive reasoning skills. I always scored high, and I didn't know it at the time, but obviously, I have really good intuition, and that's very good in detective work. That's what interests me. I was never interested in like the paramilitary SWAT, jackboot kicking down doors in. When I was interested in being an FBI agent, I wanted to be like the person sitting across an interrogation table, seeing if somebody was lying to me or what they were leaving out, being able to read people. That's, to prevent crimes. To be, and I figured I would treat everybody equally. Like, to me, a child molester is a child molester. You're all scum. I don't care if you have a Roman collar around your neck. I went to Catholic school, and a lot of teachers made excuses for pedophile priests that only God can judge them. I don't care who the fuck laid hands on you and ordained you. That doesn't make you above the law. Just like A police badge doesn't make you above the law, or a firefighter's badge, or a Green Beret flash on a Green Beret that you earned, or a Navy SEAL trident, for that matter. Most of the people in those professions are admirable people. But, and I can say this as an ex-firefighter, it is the duty of the honorable people in those professions, here's my rant, to call out those that aren't. You are not disgracing your badge, your patch, your collar, whatever, by calling out and exposing an abuser for who they are. They're disgracing the trident, the patch, the badge, the cassock by being that. You're doing the right thing. Do not get sucked into that old boys mentality that you need to keep quiet simply because that person is in the same profession or same unit or same ladder truck company as you. Sorry for another sidebar. I get two today. It's a rant. I'm going to expand on that in its own video. So that's another reason INFJs can seem intimidating, and that little rant kind of ties into it, is the things we believe and are passionate about and devoted to, we actually believe them. So therefore, when push comes to shove, we're going to actually fight for them, because we're not just pretending to be in it to be fashionable. Like, I actually believe in progressive causes. It wasn't just to try to meet, pretty college girls. Although a certain senator from Delaware, who's now a demented walking death rattle, I won't say his name, in 2006 when I was volunteering for the Bob Casey campaign to get theocratic Rick Santorum out of the Senate. He was a senator from Pennsylvania, where I'm from. I went to a fundraiser as a Democratic committee man, met this senator, and he's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Basically was like, oh yeah, just say you believe all this, it'll get you the chicks. Scumbag. Glad I didn't vote for him. Didn't vote for the orange man either. First time I never voted for a Democrat. But he's not really a Democrat. He's a Dixiecrat who was rehabilitated by Barack Obama. But this video is about INFJs, I swear. Please keep listening to me. I have a couple good points to make, probably. Another reason why INFJs can seem so intimidating is that the INFJ stare. The INFJ stare is very intimidating, even when it's not meant to be. Yes, there are times when an INFJ is doing the INFJ stare at you because they are trying to read you, and I've heard people say, it's like, I feel like you're reading my mind, stop it. And there are times when we're actually trying to do that, but there's also times where that's just our natural expression, and it can also be described as resting bitch face, too. Specifically if you're an INFJ like me who's endured narcissistic abuse. Your mind will wander there. But a lot of times people can be intimidated by an INFJ stare when it has nothing to do with them. It could simply be, that's the INFJ's natural expression when we're locked inside our own head overthinking something, and the person who thinks we're staring at them just happens to be directly in front of us. That's happened to me a lot. So it's, we don't even know what we're looking at. We're so deep in our head, and whatever is directly in front of us just happens to think we're piercing into their soul and reading their mind, which, we kind of can do if we feel like it. So that's another reason why we come across as so intimidating at times. Our integrity is another big one. INFJs, not that we can't be corrupted, but it does certainly seem that we are much harder to corrupt than the average person. And, a chance to sleep with somebody very attractive or, 6 figures of money isn't going to get us to sell out what we believe in. We truly are like that death before dishonor type, and we'll hold fast to our integrity no matter what Faustian bargain is on the table, or what negative consequences we may endure for holding to that integrity. So for those reasons, and probably some others, those are the ones that came to mind to me when I was thinking on this subject, is why INFJs can at times come off as intimidating to certain types of people. Thank you for enduring multiple sidebars in this video. As you can see, thinking about certain things trigger certain things, and the way this is unscripted and raw, I just start talking about it. Sometimes it's more relevant than others to what the video is actually about. So remember, INFJs, trust your intuition. If somebody thinks you're being intimidating, think about whether or not you feel like being intimidating at that time. And remember, don't sell out your integrity just to make somebody not think you're intimidating or to change somebody's opinion of you. We are authentic people, and you want someone to like you or want to get to know you for who you authentically are, which can be difficult because INFJs are often misunderstood. Please like and subscribe, help my channel grow. Thank you for taking the time, and as always, I hope it helped.